Hey y'all, I'm Shayna and I'm back with another review. This is for Real Housewives of Potomac Season 8 Reunion Part 2. And we're going to jump into it real quick. Before we do, if you're new here and you enjoy this type of content, please don't hesitate to check out my other videos. Like the video, subscribe if you haven't already, if you enjoy, and watch the video all the way through to the end. And by the way, you definitely want to turn on your post notifications and keep your eye out for the community tab because I have a lot of great things in the works and I don't want you to miss any of it. So let's go ahead and get into it. So we pick up where we left off last week with Mia explaining that there was some overlap and that's why Ink feels that he's the father of her son. And I'm like, because at first she said she had an affair, and I was like, was this during the time that Gordon was still married? Because, child, I'm so confused. There's so many moving parts, so many additional people. But anyway, Ashley and Candiace are on the side because Ashley made a comment like, well, he looked just like Ink. But then Candiace was like, well, no, but Ink looks like Gordon. It was like, yes, the overbite. And I'm like, oh my goodness. Karen was like, look, enough. Kids are off limits and the boy can see this one day. So let's move on. And that we did. So Andy tried to imply that Mia wasn't being transparent. He said people talk about Robyn not mentioning what's going on. Please, Mia might be a liar, but she don't mind telling her business either. So, I mean, she might change the story up, but she gonna tell it if she don't do nothing else. So Mia said that she's providing for Gordon right now. She's helping him. Right now she's divorcing him. She tried to say Ink wasn't the reason for the divorce. Him being broke isn't the reason for the divorce. She said the reason for the divorce is because he's been so raw at her lately. Like he always coming at her, and she don't like that. Mia discusses that G was really bankrupt when they married. And she said that she got an inheritance because a few of her grandparents passed on. And I just don't know if I believe that inheritance story. I don't trust it. I don't know. Mia just lies so much. So Mia and Gordon owe back rent because G didn't pay his half of the rent. I feel like if you supporting him, you paying for him anyway, why wouldn't you just pay the rent? Like you already paying, and now you got stuff on your credit. I always wonder why they didn't buy, like why they're constantly renting. It's like you can't keep up with the rent. Like I don't know who is letting you. I wouldn't be your landlord if I look back on your history and see all these issues. But I digress. She said she signed the affidavit and apparently she can't proceed with the divorce until June because they have businesses tied up. I guess I don't know what businesses she's speaking of, but okay. Mia said because the joint is over with. So what else? But anyway, Mia said neither Wendy nor Candiace reached out to her regarding her separation. I wouldn't if it was. Would y'all have like she's cheating on her husband and she got a side piece? What do I need to call you about? Okay. Anyway, so Wendy mentioned that Gordon had talked ill about her, called her everything but a child of God, and I said, what did that have to do with anything? But okay, she just wanted to let us know, honey. So then she was like, and you assaulted me. Like we were not on good terms. And here go Robyn and Gizelle talking on the side, talking about something. Well, Robyn talking about she apologized. Oh, me, I apologize. And Gizelle talking about, and it was bumping pocketbooks. Like, really? Like, okay, just because she said sorry means I got to now check up on her and call her and reach out to her. Like, just because you said sorry don't mean I'm your friend. Well, I don't, what? I'm not calling you if it's something that don't concern me. But anyway, Candiace said she didn't want to get involved and neither would I. Mia said that this is supposed to be a sisterhood. No, this is not no sisterhood. Or she said this is a sisterhood. No, it ain't. It's not. Mia said she has a penthouse in D.C. Gordon is getting a condo across the street. She said she might be going to Houston because Robyn's like, what's going on with the living situation? I don't want to hear about this living situation anymore. We've heard about it several times already, and we only on part 2. So we get to Gizelle's package. Rest in peace to her father. And hear her speak about her father when she talks about her family, well, I didn't know she had a sister. So like this season or whatever, last season. But hearing her talk about her father and her daughters humanizes Gizelle. It still don't, make me like her or nothing like that, but it humanizes her, especially when she talks about her father. I understand because I'm a daddy's girl as well. So I get it. I completely get it. So Candiace is, shedding tears as Gizelle's talking about her father and, his celebration of life. Candiace, she's crying like she normally does, but this is a sensitive subject. So it wasn't like it was out of place for her to be crying. Like it made sense. And Gizelle was like, because Andy was like, why are you crying? And Gizelle was like, yeah, for something that don't got nothing to do with her. It don't got nothing to do with her. I don't know what she's crying for. Girl, Candiace was empathizing with you. She was showing compassion, care, concern about what you're speaking of. And it's an issue. Like, no matter what she do, it's an issue. They're going to be complaining about Candiace even when she's not sitting there. I guarantee it. So Andy asked Karen if she should have, basically, I forgot how he worded it, but if she should have checked Candiace and Wendy for making faces when Gizelle was talking about her daughter Grace. And Wendy was like, and Karen was like, first of all, I cannot control what these grown women do. And Wendy was like, I congratulated Gizelle on Grace going away to Florida. Like, I asked if she was going to be an AKA. And Candiace was like, I congratulated her as well. And Wendy was like, of course, they didn't show that. Conveniently, they didn't show that part. And Gizelle was like, it never happened. So Candiace was like, I remember it. But Andy said the producer said that they don't have any footage of it. Of course they don't. The way Gizelle runs this show, even from second chair, is insane. So Andy asked Gizelle about her alleged fake boyfriend. In my opinion, child. And come to find out, Gizelle is dating somebody else. Andy just skipped on past it, honey. He glossed right over it and moved the hell on. Andy asked about Jamal, and I have no idea why. Gizelle has not been married to Jamal. Gizelle been on this show longer than she probably was even with Jamal. Like, she ain't been married to Jamal in so long. Hasn't Jamal had kids since then? What are we talking about? Jamal came on here one season to give her storyline, and when that was done, he was done. Like, why are we still talking about him? So we move on to Candiace and her package. The lump in her breast shrunk, and it's pretty much gone. Glory be to God. Okay. Candiace isn't feeling Drew Sidor on the business tip. She don't like how she handle business, so that's why she ain't want to work with her. Oh, Drew. I do want to see Drew on next season of Housewives of Atlanta, though. I like Drew. Drew be getting it bad, but I like Drew. Ashley claims she didn't know anything about Michael's lawsuit, and that the lawsuit has since been dismissed. But Ashley was like, I ain't had no parts in it. I ain't know nothing about it. I don't believe, this is just my opinion, I don't believe Ashley didn't know anything about this, or she didn't know he was going to file against her castmate or none of that. Like, come on. And Candiace shared, like, her mama thought that Ashley was involved, and she's like, no, I wasn't. And I'm like, Candiace, why you feel the need to tell everybody that your mama thought that? Okay. So Gizelle said no one was more supportive when it came to the Monique situation than she was. Candiace said Robyn was more supportive. And Gizelle was like, nope, no, she wasn't. No, it was me. How are you going to tell Candiace who was more supportive of her? You weren't there when Robyn was making those phone calls, sneaking and making them when you wasn't around. Anyway, Candiace didn't feel like Gizelle's support was genuine at that time. I don't think so either. She feels that she was only supportive because of her strong disdain for Monique. And that makes sense to me. So Robyn started playing victim when it came to Candiace's tweets. Girl, bye. Robyn tried to pull some reverse colorism nonsense, and Candiace apologized once again. And Candiace, make that be the last time you ever apologize. If you ever come back, I don't care if it's as a friend of, as a guest appearance, I don't care if it's just online. Don't you ever apologize to these women again. They don't care. And you're not going to get no apology back. So please stop. It's starting to become unbearable to watch. So Robyn also felt hurt that Candiace accused her of covering up her issues with Juan by throwing Chris under the bus. And that's Robyn, that's what you did. Y'all plotted against Chris. I think Gizelle was like the ringleader of this because she ain't had nothing going on, but y'all all came together like, look, we don't want our personal life and our business exposed. So what husband we gonna jump on this season? We gotta find a husband that we're gonna try to throw under the bus this season. And it just so happened to be Chris' turn. So everyone's jumping on Candiace, and Wendy gathered the girls. Finally, goodness. Wendy said this is equivalent to someone saying someone who was deemed racist, saying I'm offended that you called me racist, instead of looking at the reason why they're being called racist. Like the person that felt that the person was being racist towards them is the one that should be offended. If I'm on the other end of your colorism, I don't want to see you cry your Karen tears. I just do not. But whatever. They gonna blame Candiace down to the ground for this colorism stuff, even though the viewers are making these comments from what they see on their own. I've been feeling this way. I stopped watching Real Housewives of Potomac for a while. And this was part of the reason I came back. Ain't nothing changed. I mean, it just is what it is. Karen was like, look, there's no better group of women to discuss this topic. And Wendy said, not so fast. Y'all are the last people that need to be discussing this topic, okay? Wendy was like, no. If you're going to discuss this topic, you have to have range. And most of these women on here don't have the range, period. And I mean, we knew that from last season when they tried to touch on their last reunion. That was awful. That was horrible. They did a terrible job covering the issue in the topic, which is an ongoing issue in the Black community. Oh, and I don't think I wrote it down nowhere. Something went on when Wendy was talking about it. Came up. This is back to Jazelle, since we still kind of talking about it, child. When we talked about Giselle's father passing, and then how Wendy was like, I don't care. When Gizelle was saying things about my mother when she was in the hospital, she didn't know that Giselle's father was sick and in the hospital. And she was like, well, she made comments about my mother. My mother was in the hospital. And Gizelle was like, listen, when I said your mother was a witch, I didn't know she was in the hospital. And Wendy was like, I don't care. Now, I will say this. If I don't know your mama's in the hospital, like if we going back and forth, toe to toe, and I say your mother's a witch and I don't know she's in the hospital, you can't hold that to me. I didn't know your mother was in the hospital. If she knew and she was like, I don't care about that witch, that's different. But if she didn't know and she was just talking and she was being how she normally is, then fine. But everything else when it comes to Gizelle, I don't see it for her. Even Gizelle, she said her father was the one who was like, you need to go on a show. May he rest. But I wish she would have never made that suggestion. We probably would have had a better franchise. So the friendship between Candiace and Robyn is over. Nneka mentioned Candiace apologizing. She's like, she apologized. She's talking to Robyn. And Robyn don't want to hear that. Even though earlier she mentioned that Mia apologized to Wendy after she assaulted her, she should get over it, but you don't want to get over it when it comes to you. So the husbands come out after Nneka child, because they had took a little break, and Nneka was backstage yelling at her husband. Do y'all think Nneka like her husband? I don't think she likes that man. But we jump straight on Chris. Chris said that we intentionally saw less of him this year. Child, he can't be bothered. So we get into the woman who allegedly lied on him. Child, her story switched up so many times. Like, nobody cares. She's a liar, whatever. So Chris said he never met that woman. And Robyn, she decided to jump up. She want to pipe up. Oh, you talking about she made up some screenshots? Is that what you're saying? She fabricated screenshots? Robyn, if you don't hush, you need to be quiet. Okay, you need to be laying low because Juan isn't even here. So why are you saying anything? Shush. We heard what you had to say. Be quiet. She wants Chris to be a cheater so bad. Like, girl, was you ever Candiace's friend? So, and first of all, for me, Candiace, girl, you're leaving. I don't think nobody just quit like sporadically. Like, she probably been thinking and contemplating on leaving the show for a while. If you gonna go out Even if it's temporarily, because the way she kind of left it open, like she might come back, child, I don't know. Either way, this is the time to really dig into Robyn's behind. Like, I would have let her have it. You don't say, you ain't gonna be saying nothing to my man, my man, my man. Okay, don't you dare. When ain't nobody sat behind you in how many seasons? Child, please. She didn't really go in like she could have. Candiace speculates that Gizelle could have been behind that woman lying. And Gizelle was like, no, the woman said, leave Gizelle. She said verbatim, leave Gizelle out of it. She doesn't have anything to do with it. Now, I wasn't thinking that Gizelle had nothing to do with it until she said that. You don't know this woman. And out of all these accusations she's talking about Chris, she said, and leave Gizelle out of it. Why would she just come out of nowhere and mention you? What do you have to do with this? Unless you got something to do with this. Okay, anyway, I don't know. I'm wondering. It sounded, Candace, she might be on to something with that one, girl. So Chris got them together and he like, look, y'all want Candace to be held accountable and hold herself accountable, but other people, they can say things like, oh, I said the wrong word. Ooh, instead of, I said forced instead of make. I said I meant to say he asked me to come into the room, but I said he made me come into the room. So my bad, and y'all just moved right on. And Andy just moved right on, child. Chris is not having it. He like, look, he's shutting Gizelle down at every turn, and Gizelle face on, girl, yeah, he's had enough of you. Enough. They made the right decision. Like, can you blame Candace quit? Some people want to be saying Candace got fired. I wholeheartedly believe Candace quit. And can you blame her? Now, I know the check is nice, but my peace of mind, my mental state is like worth so much more than this. I'm going to save up a couple checks, do a couple seasons like she did and move the hell on because this ain't worth it. There's no winning here. There's no winning here being on the show. Gizelle shouldn't be here any longer. Like, this is ridiculous. I would have rather Robyn stayed than Gizelle left. I'm tired of her. But especially when they had, Robyn's better when Gizelle is not around. Robyn and Candiace was going back and forth in DMs, and she was up there when it came to the colorist thing, like saying, oh, because Candiace like, your hair looks pretty, or she was like, it's long, and she was like, yeah, and I looked at close proximity to a white woman, like, girl, where's all this upset coming from? I guarantee if Gizelle was nowhere around and wasn't on the show, Robyn wouldn't have none of that same energy. It'd be completely different. The show would be more lighthearted and fun. Like, if we just removed like the cancer that is Gizelle that's in this season, like this drama she brings, it's not worth it. Remove her. Mia's giving us enough. Like, we don't really need Gizelle anymore. We can bring in somebody new. She didn't even hardly say it but 2 words this reunion. So she's trying to talk when she can, but she can go. Just do a recast at this point. Leave Mia and Wendy. And I don't know, because we give Wendy a friend. I don't know. Let's see part 3, and then let's decide what we think they should do. But they got to do something. That's why I stopped reviewing, because something. Anyway, so Andy asked the men, like, how do y'all feel about Juan not being here? And it was like, what you asking us for? We don't care. Like, okay, that's that man's problem. And then we end off with Gordon. He about to tell us something. It's a to be continued. So meet me back here next week. I'm going to finish this out. And then we're going to decide if we're going to do next season or not. Because RHOP is down real bad, okay? Real bad. But meet me back here for Summer's House. I'll do Love and Hip Hop Miami. We got Ready to Love coming up. That's part 3 of the reunion this week. So a lot of shows are ending. So we got to be ushering in some new shows. There's a lot of things ending, and we're going to be having some new beginnings, okay? So I'll see y'all in the next one. Bye.